I never believed in the paranormal. I always thought that people who do that have too much fantasy or are straight up crazy. But something is happening to me. Something I cannot explain with science. I don't understand what is going on with me, and since my vocal cords don't work anymore, I have to write it down with my last strength. I hope someone finds this and is able to find out what is happening. I will start from the beginning. I work for a university, for an institute for forensic medicine, to be more specific. Our job is to find out why dead people have died. It isn't very appetizing most of the time, because we have to cut open dead people, but I worked there for years, so I got used to most of the stuff. It all started on a Monday. As always, a mortician came to us and brought us a corpse wrapped in a body bag in a coffin. He said that we should be careful when we open it, because the body is badly decayed. I don't have any problems with that. If I could not deal with decayed corpses, I would be in the wrong industry. So, we took the coffin and brought him in the room, where we did our autopsies. We put on our clothing and unwrapped the corpse. The condition of the body was horrible. Almost like it was a mummy. The corpse didn't have any hair, or eyes, and its nose was also gone. It was very emaciated. You could almost see every bone. The skin was dark and like leather. But the worst thing was the smell. I worked there for years, I am used to the smell of decayed corpses, but that was something else. It was the first time that I had to gag during an autopsy. And I wasn't the only one. My colleagues also couldn't deal with the smell. One even had to vomit. My boss was angry and said that we should pull ourselves together, but I noticed that he also suffered because of that bad smell. After a while we started with the autopsy. At first, we documented the condition of the corpse and everything else noticeable. There was nothing really spectacular, no injuries or whatsoever. But I noticed something in the rotten face of the corpse. It was kind of smiling. No, more like grinning. Did the face of the corpse look like that when we opened the bag? I couldn't and still cannot remember, honestly, and I didn't have the time to think much more about it because my boss yelled at me that I should stop dreaming and go to work. We started cutting the body open. The smell got only worse, and I had a hard time keeping my breakfast in my stomach. I don't know how to describe it, but it smelled more worse than other decayed bodies. Very sweet, but it also stung in my nose. My eyes started burning, and after a while I could even taste the horrible smell. My boss and my colleagues had also a very unpleasant time. It was so bad that we had to do a break, because we couldn't bear the situation any longer. The time the upper body was cut open, the whole room was in a cloud of that bad smell. We looked in the inside of the body and expected decayed organs, but there was nothing. The body was empty. My boss looked at us clueless. We searched and searched, but there was no organ in this corpse. Only bones. We gave up after a while. My boss removed one of the bones and gave it to one of my coworkers for the DNA tests. At least one thing our institute could do with the body. I remember that he also contacted the mortician, who brought the corpse to us, but even he didn't know anything about the body. It was found in a little and empty apartment, where no one lived, after other people in the house started to notice the bad smell. My boss thanked him and told us that we should put the body in our mortician refrigerator. It was too late to stop the decomposition process, but maybe the bad smell would be reduced. We put it in there and then kept on working. The days after that were very normal. The experience with the weird corpse was quickly forgotten and only talked about again, when the results of the DNA analysis returned. The result was that they couldn't work with the bone, because there was no bone marrow in it. Very weird, we thought to ourselves, and my boss decided to try it with another bone. After hours he came to us with the information that every bone he took was empty, and that he believes that there was also no bone marrow in the other ones. We never had a case that weird before, and my coworkers and I made wildly speculations why the body was that way. But my boss quickly got annoyed and yelled at us that we should go back to work. Days after that, the mortician came to get the corpse from us. While we wrapped it up, I took a last close look at the body. Nothing really special about it besides the fact that it is empty and grinning. I couldn't stop looking at its face. Its grinning was unsettling, but it also felt like it was watching me. Those empty, dark eye sockets looked at me. You have seen too many movies. I thought to myself and wrapped it finally up. The mortician took the corpse and drove away with it. I remember the day after that, I woke up with a very dry mouth and throat. It was so dry that I couldn't swallow anything. It did hurt in an extreme way, and even after drinking a bunch of water it didn't go away. I thought that I caught a cold or something like that, but beside that I didn't have any other symptoms. Even after hours the dryness didn't vanish. I told my coworkers that I am sick and went to a doctor, but he couldn't find anything. He said that my mouth and throat really were dry, but he had no explanation for it. He gave me something against the pain and told me I should keep drinking water. It was annoying that he couldn't really do something against that, but I was glad that the painkillers worked. Drinking water helped also a bit, but no more salvia was reproduced. My mouth and throat kept being dry. I got used to it, but I knew I cannot live like that. I had to go to another doctor. The day I had my new appointment, I noticed that my whole skin felt dry, and not only that, but my eyes were also a little yellow. I was a bit scared, and I hoped the new doctor could help me with that. But it was also a waste of time. The new one also couldn't help me. He asked a bunch of questions, if I had allergies and that stuff, but I denied everything. At home my skin started to itch. At first only a bit, but the feeling got stronger and stronger. In the end so strong that I almost bleed because of my scratching. Luckily, I had a cream for my skin at home, but it took almost the whole bottle to stop the itching. My mind was like a roller coaster, and I asked myself what was wrong with me. What kind of disease was that? I stayed home from work the next days, because my condition got worse. The itching was unbearable. My eyes weren't yellow anymore, they were brown and got more and more dry, when I didn't water them, and my mouth and throat were hurting so much, that I almost had to cry. But even that didn't work anymore. I wanted to cry, but no tears came out. And not only that, I stopped sweating. It was in the middle of summer, but I didn't have to sweat in the heat. And really weird was the fact that I didn't pee anymore. I drank so much water, but I didn't have to go to the toilet for days. All the time I asked to myself, what was wrong with me? But it got worse. My fingertips got red-brown, then parts of my body started to change their color, and a weird, very sweet smell arose. I knew that smell. I knew it very well. Shocked and scared, I ran into my bathroom and took a good look at myself. I was so stupid I didn't notice it before, but I looked exactly like a body beginning to decay. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. Suddenly I had to throw up. It was disgusting. I vomited blood, which was dark and green and thick fleshy parts. My organs. Those parts were my organs. I panicked. I had to do something, but I didn't know what to do. An ambulance. A doctor. Someone must help me, but what should they do? I was rotting, a process natural for a lifeless body and something you couldn't stop. The only difference was that I am still alive. I am alive, but I am decaying. The smell got worse from day to day. The first neighbors came hammering at my door and complained. I think they will soon break the door open and look after me. And what will they find? A rotting body, which is still alive. My whole organs have to be mush right now. I'm almost blind, my legs don't work anymore. Under my skin I can see my veins. They are green, my bones hurt so bad. What is happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why am I still alive? I must be already dead. Or is this what dying feels like? Somebody has to help me. This is a nightmare and I still hope to wake up. With my last strength I am writing this down. I don't know what to do anymore. I am scared, so scared. In my mind pictures of this rotten corpse started to pop up. It is looking at me with its empty eye sockets, grinning at me, and then it starts to laugh. It is taunting me. What did I do to deserve this? Why is this happening? Please make it stop. Please. I don't want to die.